Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Me and Irene are today going to start the foundations of shutting down your de facto government in Ireland, that is. So, welcome aboard again, Irene.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Great to be here.
Okay, so let me explain a little bit more. Prince Charles, which is part of the Principality, and the other fiction entity calling itself Parker Bowles or Camilla or something, will be coming to your island, your country island, towards the end of March. In doing so, they're coming there to pick up as many thousands of houses that have been repossessed or going to be repossessed by the registrar. The registrar tends to hand over these properties to Camilla and the principality known as Charles. Those two now will take it to the head of the Church of England and hand it over to what you know as another fiction entity calling itself Elizabeth II. She in turn, with all that cash in her hand as it were, with all of your hard work known as your crown or corona, will begin through the mayoral ceremony, she will go to the City of London, albeit the City of London will invite her to come aboard their territory because, as you know, City of London is an independent territory. And there she intends to hand over the sweat equity, commercial energy, the life force of the Irish people. Me and Irene are going to start the foundations of yous shutting it down and shutting down what is known as the power of attorney, which all of yous, or most of yous, have signed off without actually knowing about it. And on Thursday, we'll be holding a training program for the whole world. Sorry, beg your pardon, for the Canadians, which will be Thursday, 2 p.m. UK time. And for Ireland and the rest of the world or Europe, it will be at 9 p.m. Thursday, which is like a couple of days from now, full stop. So, what I'm going to do now is hand it over to Irene to describe to us the power of attorney by using the live presentation. Stay patient with us because we're about to reveal information that has never been revealed that I have checked on the internet about the all powers of attorney and how to shut that down. As far as I can see, it hasn't been done in over 100 years, and we're the first one that's doing it. And if there are other people, then it's being filtered and it's being censored. So in that sense, I forward you my apologies for saying that we are the first one to do it. We're not making claims to any gold medals, but rather letting you know the importance and the significance of what we're about to share. So, this is the document that Irene is going to speak about. Okay. Irene, you don't seem to be. Sorry, beg your pardon. Okay, that is that. So, can you tell us, Irene, what this document is? So we'll go from the top, and please remember, whenever you're reading any government documents, always read from the bottom to top. Always bottom to top. But for today, we're going to start from the top. So tell me, Irene, what is
Yeah.
this power of attorney? What is this about?
Um, the best way I can explain it is that when you just say if you're getting a mortgage and you think, oh, this is great, I'm going to get a mortgage like a debt pledge, and my life is complete because you have your forever home, and you sign that form. But the thing is, they don't tell you is that you're signing your power of attorney away forever, that it is an actual debt pledge. And It's only a very tiny part. It's hidden away in the mortgage, in the actual terms and conditions that you wouldn't even know it was there. It's only a paragraph, little paragraph, and there could be like 20, 30, 40 pages in the whole terms and conditions, so it's totally lost in it. But in the Power of Attorney Act, there's an actual part of it, like this part's the very end of it, and it says that A can only donate to B, as in if I'm getting a mortgage, I can only donate to the secretary of the bank, the company secretary, and that is meant to be the end of it. But they're selling all the loans onto the vulture funds and everything, and they are taking away your power of attorney without your consent, and that's where the whole fiasco begins. And I don't know what we could do. Mark has the solution to stop it.
So, first of all, you signed something that you didn't know or understand, which means that's a void of contract.
Yeah, it's only a tiny piece in the whole lot compared to the vast. You could be there for hours going through it. One little paragraph.
What they call small print, I suppose. And I have done previous videos on it, what the tragedy of the power of attorney is, because it encompasses whether you live or die, whether your organs are harvested, or your children are educated or fed in a particular way, whether you're going to be vaccinated or not vaccinated, whether you should be declared mentally ill or not. What people have to grasp is that the all powers of attorney or power of attorney is like a general power of attorney where they conduct every single affair in your life. Would that be a true, accurate statement, Irene, from what I've just said?
Now, we walked into it, everybody walked into it, but we weren't aware of it. And
Yes.
also, as you were saying before, when you sign a mortgage document, your contract might be a few pages, but the terms and conditions come in a booklet form. They're not even attached together. You don't even sign it. It's only a booklet with a cover on it. So how are you to know? Like, there's no proof that you even got it or anything.
Yeah.
It's not part of anything that you sign.
So,
and another thing as well, a lot of the banks don't even sign the mortgage documents or the indenture. Like, it's only, I have seen from in the past people, their mortgage documents, and only the people who, like, just say the husband and the wife, the boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever, are taking out the mortgage, and your solicitor would be the only witness on it, and no other signatures on it. Nobody from the bank, no bank personnel whatsoever.
So you have a marriage agreement, a contract where two people have not signed. It's only you, and it's just waiting for the bank to sign it. But of course, if they signed it, then of course they'll be getting caught in money laundering. And of course they go to prison for that. And I think it's 20 years or 22 years prison and £20 million fine, called swindling. That's part of swindle in franc. Okay, full stop. And the other thing that the general public has built up to the solutions that I'm going to give them for this for this term, as it were, on this interview, is that, do remember, this is an act. An act means it's a script for acting. And that's part of the legal fiction system, where they're not actually speaking to factual men and women, but rather actors in commas. In other words, it's quite literally, and I have to say that 3 times, quite literally, a Shakespearean play taking place in your life that the Irish people and the rest of the world genuinely think that this is the truth of the matter. Now, I'm going to describe a little bit more. The highest court in your country or any country is the coroner's court. Everything else is just a mirage and an illusion. This also includes the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court in every country is just nothing more than a Shakespearean play pretending to have power. That is why they do not sign any documents. They do not make any laws. They say that openly: we make no laws. because they don't have a contract with you to make laws. In other words, simply they don't have an agreement. Full stop. Now, Irene, is it correct what you said, that this power of attorney is non-transferable? Is that right?
Not transferable, yes, because you have to, on this form, which I brought up,
Can you show it to us, please?
here, can you see it?
You've disappeared from the screen,
Okay.
unfortunately. What can I do to bring you back? Let me just give it a second. Okay. Show us now, please.
Okay.
A little bit closer. All right, a little bit down. Thank you. Only a little bit, darling. Only a little bit.
Another bit.
Okay. Just hold it there for a minute. Let me direct you. Go up a little bit. All right. The general power of attorney is made this day, so on and so forth. And can you point out where it says it's non-transferable?
It would be in, let me see now, section 16, right, of the Act. I'll just read it out, okay? Where it's at. Section 16. There's a few parts of it that kind of come right out. Let's see now.
Please do take your time.
Yeah, I
Don't feel rushed or anything like
Yeah.
that.
Well, can I come back to that, Mark?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm just
we'll come back to it. We'll make a note of it.
Yeah.
But Irene has done the research. We may not have highlighted it, but it's non-transferable.
But basically,
also,
what it is, it does say that you can only transfer from A to B, and that is the actual form. Or you can do a similar form, but has to have the same quality on it. You know, like the same idea behind it. That you can, that I'm A, I can, or AB of, and you give your address and your name. You can only appoint to CD, which is the other person. Like just say person one can only transfer their power of attorney to person B, but B cannot transfer ever to C without your written permission. And if it's in court, where the likes of the vulture funds or whatever, they have to, it has on here on the terms on the Power of Attorney Act that this form has to be lodged in the registrar's office. Will you give your power to whoever, if you want to sell it to another person, whatever you can, but this form has to be filled in and they have to be able to produce it to prove that you have given your power of attorney for them to sell your loan.
Yes.
So it's a very important thing, and it's also on the Property Registration Authority also insists on that form, but they never do it. It's on their website.
Okay. So
but they don't go by it.
So the registrar has to have proof that there is power of attorney.
Yeah.
And that you have signed it off.
Yeah.
Okay, to accept the voucher fund to take over.
Mm-hmm.
All right. In addition to that, the land registry, which is the record of lands and properties and so on and so forth, also requires that evidence to be filed that you have signed away your power of attorney as acting in commas, Is that correct?
Yes, but it doesn't happen. They don't go by the rule.
That is correct. Okay. Now on Thursday, I'll be given a much more detailed explanation how to reverse that. Now I will tell you the trickery that they are pulling on you from day one. and the rest of the Irish people. Okay. And to do that, I'm going to go back to the presentation. All right. Now, unfortunately, they can't see you, the audience, but they can hear you. The reason why is because the presentation has taken up all the space, as it were. Okay, but they can still see me and hear you and hear me as well. You see, the only time, ladies and gentlemen, whether that's in fiction or in fact, where you can override another person's will, the actor, will, as in will, last will and testament, which is called an undertaking. Undertaking means those things of a dead nature. That's why the judge says, go and do the undertaking. Full stop. The second bit is that anybody also autographing and signing, if they don't rebut the solicitors or the court's presumption that you are now mentally ill, then that's the only time that they can fully retain the power of attorney over you. And one of the things that they will do is that they will try to take out advertising in newspapers to say that you're idiotic, you're stupid, that you're mentally deranged. In other words, they're advertising for you to rebut whether that is true or not. Or in order to do that, all you have to do is just take out a free ad in the same newspaper, because they would have a free ad section to say that you are not mentally ill, and that you do retain your own power of attorney, because everybody conducts their own affairs. Okay, that's how you rebut it. Now let's show the proof. All right, so I'm going to go back onto the presentation. Remember, always read your document from bottom to top. You see this bit here, powers of attorney, act. Remember, an act is a Shakespearean act. Before I read this off for you guys, you now know that the de facto government in your country does not work for the people, but works for the corporate interest as well as the crown. Okay? Yep. Because the Irish people are said to have lost their crown. And there's a lot of things one has to do to say that a man or a woman has lost their glory, lost their corona, lost their life force. One of them, just one of them, is also to have a mortgage. Okay, a death pledge. Because living things cannot have death pledges. We make contracts and oaths. Now I'm going to read to you the game that they are playing. Now, when I'm in Ireland, some of the people that I meet, they say to me, Mark, they took out an ad about me saying that I'm bonkers for filing this document, that document in the courts. Yeah, they're playing and pardon the expression, they are playing a shitty game with you, because these people are dog feces. Yeah, they are dog feces that have stuck on to the Irish man's shoe, Irish man and woman's shoe. I suggest that you treat them as dog feces. Okay? So where it's got here, now I'm going to read it so you guys don't need to read it. An act to provide for powers of attorney to operate when the donor, which is you, of the power, which is you are the power, is becoming mentally incapable, and to amend in other respects the law relating to powers of attorney generally. 5th June 1996. The 5th and the June is in italics, which means it's off the page. Be it enacted by the, I don't know how to pronounce this, O-I-R-E.
Oh, Oireachtas.
Oireachtas. What does that mean?
Yeah. That would be the government, the Oireachtas.
Ah, Oireachtas.
The
That's the government, yeah?
No, yeah, yeah.
So,
Irish.
yeah. So, would I be right, Irene,
Mhm.
that they're actually asking you to show that you are capable of making your sound decisions and that essentially your de facto government is just waiting for you to shut them down, as well as the registrar, the land registry, the Crown Corporation, Prince Charles, the principalities, and the rest of it? Would I
All
be
in plain
correct in
sight.
saying that?
Yeah, yeah, all in plain sight.
All in plain sight.
Yeah.
So, on Thursday, we have produced the necessary paperwork to aid this world to be birthed successfully with as little teething problems as possible. And we're doing it for the Canadians as well, because they need our help with that. Full stop. So I'm going to go back to full screen. And we need to say a few things, and then I've got another presentation to do for everybody.
I just say one thing about
Yeah,
that act. Are you saying that they are trying to make you look mentally ill so they can take over your power of attorney? Is that what they're
Correct.
basically saying
Correct.
in a roundabout kind of a way? So that they can take control of everything without
Yeah,
you know.
So they're saying it in Shakespearean language because Miller's technology allows it to be disqualified.
Yeah.
But of course, we can go around that because they're under the subject of congruence. They're subjugated to congruence. In addition to that, any public official has to be serviced at their home or at their public office or whatever it is. It's entirely up to you, and I'll go through that. Because on Thursday, I'm going to teach the entire world how to service these people at their home.
Okay.
Yeah, at their home.
Yep.
And because Ireland is a small place, you know where all of these people live, including the registrar, including the so-called Prime Minister, and the rest of them. This includes the so-called High Court judges and the coroner, and the county coroner's court. We know all where they live. So we're going to name them. And what I would like the general public to do is provide us with as much information as they can when we call out their names. That means if you know their names and addresses, send it to us, because we're going to service them in the thousands at their place of work and as well as at their homes. Whether you wish to service them on the road, in the car, at their homes, at their stables, or their pub, or whatever it is entirely up to you. But I certainly would like to service them at home, because then you know that they have got it.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go through all that. So I will also be crediting other people that are on the internet teaching people that you can be your own service provider. And this is another a success rate that I'm adding volume to what we are going to be teaching the world to do. Okay, is that this is called a public-private partnership. Your Prime Minister, the Supreme Court, which are all public, can also be reached in their private capacity in their homes. Period.
Yeah.
And these are all first-hand knowledge. These are things that I have actually done. Otherwise, I can't do what I do. Make it very clear. I only deal with first-hand knowledge. Full stop. Does that answer your question fully, Irene?
Yes, very good. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially if you get the delivery to their home, they have to accept it, because if it goes to their work, anyone, their secretary, could accept it, and they mightn't even get to see it.
Yeah, and it just as they approach your home, it is your right to approach your home.
Yeah.
Their home.
Especially
Okay.
in the private capacity, where in the public capacity they'd be in their job, place of work, and everything.
Yeah, so that's when they're acting. Everybody in the public, as it were, are actors.
Mhm.
And people have to understand this. Your prime minister, your presidents are all actors. But if an act touches the general public, touches the audience, called the authority, audience means authority, yeah? Like an audit,
Yeah.
like an autograph, and it damages people, then they are totally and utterly liable in their private and in their public capacity, or vice versa. This includes bank managers, secretaries, whoever you want that is in the public.
Yeah.
This is why the actual men and women that control the world hide in the in the private exclusively and using actors to do their bidding. This includes presidents, prime ministers, judges, and so on and so forth. Because judges are what? Actors. Well, how do you know judges are actors? How do you know politicians are actors?
Because their mouths
Because,
move.
sorry?
Their mouths move.
Because they pass acts.
Yeah.
If a judge is saying this is an act,
Yeah.
they're telling you the truth, are they not? That's an act. If your parliament is saying we're passing acts, what is that?
For
That's an
actors.
ACT. That's an act.
Mhm.
Okay, now my university tricks and trap students know all about this. That's why they have legislative powers. That's why they have executive and judicial powers. I've taught them that. And we're now evolving it into business, as it were. So they'll be setting up business and making money in the professions that they do. Because you're here to enjoy life, make your sweat equity, make what work for you. All right. And that requires power and that requires knowledge. But knowledge is what you get, and that's what we'll be transmitting as well. So, as you know, it's solution based and it's first hand knowledge. Full stop. On a note of myself, there are many countries that I've been to that I've taught people. Okay. And I've been received in like every country, you know, with great deal of warmth and understanding. So thank you very much for that. Originally, when I came to Ireland, I did exactly the same thing, and the people that I brought with me, they're the ones that asked me to come over. They greeted me fantastic, so on and so forth. What I did find in Ireland, and I need to share this with people, is that there is a small group of people there that are highly parasitical and highly toxic. And that toxicity is present whenever I hold any training programs. And the way that psychologists and psychiatrists explain that to me is that they don't want you to succeed because they rather see people fail than see succeed, because they themselves are failures. And I find every nation has its own unique trait, its own unique traits. 90% of the time, it's fantastic. Why am I saying this? For preparation for Thursday. I've had people steal from me, thwart me, corporations, television stations, newspapers, radio shows, as well as individuals that do character assassinations on me. Not a single one of them has ever succeeded. The reason why that is because I know who I am and what I do. Okay? I have my own center of gravity. And for anybody wanting to go forward in this corona period, you have to demonstrate that you are a man or a woman. and that you have your own center of gravity, and that you have the ability to conduct your own affairs, full stop, rather than toxifying, rather than making presumptions and assumptions and making statements that you cannot prove or anything like that. So for those people that might turn up, at the click of a button, I'll just remove you. And please understand also that I will have no apprehensions in telling people to shut up. The reason why I'm so stern with these things is because in this period, having zero tolerance for the very people that the nation that you're trying to help is destroyed by a very small group of people because they make the most amount of noise. Toxic people always make a large amount of noise. And because, I am what I am, I won't be accepting any of that nonsense. And if I find out people that have stolen from me are trying to infiltrate, as it were, I will come after you in your own homes. You understand? I will come after you in your own homes. Full stop. These are the consequences if people interfere with the natural birthing of this planet into the corona period. The Crown of City of London, Elizabeth II, who is the head of Church of England, that's what she's the head of, means to steal as much things from you as possible. And I have the ability to stop that. Full stop. I don't think I have anything else to say in regards to that, so I would like to go to the presentation and just cover a few things that I need to, if that's okay with you, Irene, or do you have anything else to say?
Yes, just wondering, how will you stop Queen Elizabeth doing what she wants to do?
Okay, let me... One of the most powerful documents that you have is a live life claim. The second element is your ability to squash the de facto government, ability to control your all powers of attorney. Another element is that globally we are able to remove mortgages. For those things, people have to come to me. But I'm not going to do it for free. Freebie people will get nothing from me. But on Thursday, I will begin the process of setting the Irish and the Europeans and the Canadians and the American people, all those people that come to the training, I will be able to teach them to do that.
Okay.
I'll be able to teach them to do that. And that's all first-hand knowledge because I did it myself.
Okay. Another thing, the way you're saying, like the Church of England.
So let me explain a little bit more. Sorry, beg your pardon. Do continue, please.
Yeah, the way you were saying about the Church of England, all the everything goes back to the Church of England or something. What about the Church of Ireland, Church of Wales, Church of Scotland? Does that affect anything, or is it all Church of England?
Every single tribal chieftain, and you can look it up. They're called chieftains. The City of London has one as well. They have all their own churches. And Irene, do you know what the word church means? If you don't know, just say so.
No, I can't remember.
It means Lord.
Lord, yeah, Lord, yeah.
And do you know what Lord means?
Someone that we look up to.
It's a legal fiction that men and women use to extract energy away from you.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what another word for a church is in another language, which I can go through to you? It's a place of circus.
Oh.
The point I'm making is that what you thought was a church only exists in your mind, but not on paper.
Mm-hmm.
Because on paper it means totally different. I can parsay it and syntax it, but just by going by conventional definitions, It doesn't even mean that what you think it means.
Yeah. During the Church of England or whatever, you go for to a service, not
So when you
mass.
say Church of England, what you're saying is Lord of England.
Yeah.
What's the Scottish name for the Lord of England?
Laird. Laird.
Correct. Lard.
Mm-hmm.
And the Irish have one as well. Okay. And they are directly attached to, and I'm getting very technical, to another church called itself Anglican. Okay. But I don't want to go down that route because I know these systems inside out.
Yeah.
But that's not the objective of it. Okay. Full stop. The point I'm making again is that all of yous are running your minds with under presumption and assumption. And when you get caught out, like the Irish people have, you can't bullshit your way out of it anymore. So when you come up to my training program, you can't bullshit your way through telling me that you know something. Like, some people turn up at my training program and say, we're experts. And I say, how's that going with you? How's that going for you? What do you mean? Well, you're expert. How is that going for you? It's not. What is it expert in? Then they start to break down. You understand what I'm saying? So with this stuff, you can't bullshit your way out. You either know it or you don't. You either follow it through or you don't follow it through. If you are of a weak constitution, leave the field, you leave the game, because you are not on a level playing field. All right? Full stop. Now, the Canadians already understood this. That's why they're leveling the playing field for all of you, mankind. Okay? Full stop. Let me go to the presentation, please, before I forget. And you will disappear off the screen.
Okay.
So, this is the character called part of principalities. That's what a prince means. That's what a princess means. They're coming to your country because they're running out of energy. It's like a man or a woman that's running out of food, so they're going to come into your house to steal the food rather than ask for donations. And the registrar's job through their court system is hand that energy over so they can survive a next month or two because their time has run out. That's all they're doing. They're buying themselves hours, days, if not a couple of months at the most. I will teach you on Sunday how to greet these people. Okay, and that'll be an eye-opener, a big eye-opener. Now, later on, we'll be calling out these names for you, the Irish people, to provide us with addresses of their home addresses, because this is a public-private partnership. And also some people in Chicago, in this case, Illinois. So I will be calling them out, and for the American people to provide us with the home addresses of these people, because hiring a private detective is extremely expensive. Okay, but if you guys know, you could always send it to me. But please don't lie to us. You'll only get caught out. In the Corona period, you lie, you essentially will lose your life. That's just the truth of it. Okay? I'll also be going through my website and things like that and crediting these women for what they have done in terms of adding value to the service processing. Okay? So I want to, credit them. There's a few other things I need to say. If you want to know more about the fact that the world you live in has already been announced to you, just look up, for example, the opening ceremony of the 2012 Olympic ceremony, which took place only 1.5 miles from here, because I live just down the road to that place. Okay, so that is that. Look, I'm just showing you because you guys need to know every time you go to church, you're going to say It's a Lord. So you have Buddha, you have Krishna, you have Jesus. Soon as they pick up the prefixes called titles, they've now gone back into the world of fiction called legal fiction. So when you say Lord, Church, that's what you're doing. And let me show you who the Lords are. That's who they are. That's who you folks are praying to. That's what you are renewing your contracts with every time you go to Sunday church. Every time you say a prayer, you think you're saying prayer to a creator. You're saying a prayer to them. The medium of hypnosis that they use to do this is very well known to me. And sometime towards the middle of the year, I'll be teaching that to my Tricks and Traps students so they can smash the images that are in their mind. So they now can have a one-way geometric level playing field communication with their creator. The last thing you need is a middleman. What's a banker? Is a middleman. What's a lord? It's a middleman. What's a Vatican? It's a middleman. What's the Anglican? It's a middleman. What is stopping you from accessing your own crown? The middleman. What's that called? Elizabeth II, Church of England. She essentially works for these people that are sucking your energy. And you didn't even know. You didn't even know. So let's go to Irene. You want to call out some names, please?
Oh yeah. Will I do the Irish ones or the American ones first?
American one. Irish should be good.
Okay, right. Okay. Name these are, and what are you going to do? What are these names for? What are you going to do with them? Or
I want the Irish people to forward us their home addresses so the Irish people can serve them at their homes,
yeah,
as self-service processes.
yeah.
Because everybody has the ability to service anybody.
Okay.
You know that because they keep servicing you and the Irish people, but the Irish people don't service anybody else. They don't go up to their president and say, the de facto president, and say, I'm servicing you. I'm squashing the full powers of attorney. Here's my terms and conditions. Get on with it, you servant. They have to get into that frame of mind. That this is called, in law, that was put in there by people that know what they're doing, because it's not evil that controls this world. It's the illusionists. It's the lords that have understood how the weaknesses of man works through economy, through suggestion, and etc. Okay? And I, of course, am initiating as a planet potentiary, so I am 100% responsible for all peaceful men and women that want to become service processors, as well as coroners. Because on Thursday, I'm going to teach them how to become a coroner, because what does a coroner mean? It means crown. What does a coronation mean? It means crown. Okay?
Right. Okay. I'll start from, these are a list of Irish people that we have to service at their home address. Now, some of the addresses we have, but we can always
Why don't we just call it out, Irene?
Yes, I'll call them out. Okay, right. Receiver Ken Tyrrell of Price Waterhouse Cooper, Declan MacDonald of Price Waterhouse Cooper, Elizabeth Pope of the Property Registration Authority. She is the CEO, as in the Chief Executive Officer. Permanent TSB, the ex-Managing Director, Jeremy John David Masding, and Conor Ryan, who is the Company Secretary.
Now, what I require you to do is read it out slowly.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay. The next lot is Hayes Solicitors. We're looking for a Jeremy Irwin and a Michael Kelly. Then we're looking for another solicitors called Miley and Miley, LLP. And we're looking for Stephen O'Connell Miley and a Kevin Kennedy, who are all part of Miley and Miley LLP. Next, we are looking for Claire Callanan, who is a partnership in Beecham Solicitors, but it's spelled Beauchamps. Looks like Beauchamp, whatever, but it's Beecham's how they pronounce it. Then we're looking for barristers, four altogether: Stephen Dowling, Jarlath Ryan, Barry O'Donnell, and Alison Kershaw. Then for Sheldon Property Finance DAC, we're looking for the ex-director called Karen McCrave. For Mars Capital Finance DAC, 2 directors we're looking for. One is Colin Marr, Maher, and then Cameron Marr, Marr. Okay. Then K-Tech Security, Kevin McGarry. He is the owner of that company.
What is that, darling?
They are a locksmith and a security company that go around and they take over, presumably or assumed, houses or business premises that have been repossessed, but they're not, because they're not going on the owner's power of attorney, to be honest, or anything. Everything is all assumption and presumption. Then there is locksmiths. Sean Cahill is the owner of Blackwater Security, and he has a locksmith, Michael Hunt, or Mick Hunt. Then there is Link Asset Management Directors, Michael Moriarty, Peter Carney, Jared McGinn, Antoinette Dunn, Simon Fitness, Robert Hughes. Also Everyday Finance Directors, Michael Sheehy, Brendan Keogh, Adrian Cloak, Selena Bordell. And then we're looking for AIB. There's a staff member, Linda Muller. And then AIB, the ex-CEO of AIB is Colin Hunt. And then other AIB directors, Helen Elizabeth Normoyle, Carolyn Mary Lennon, and Donal Galvin. And that's so far anyway in Ireland what we're looking for. The addresses. Now we have a few, but there's more that we need to get out of them. We do have a certain amount of them that we were able to.
If people email us, would you be able to provide that list for us?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can email what I have, and I can email this here, and I can put the addresses on it that I have if you want, or whatever.
Yeah, so we'll send it to everybody that wants to help us.
Yeah.
So they can be serviced, because as far as I know, there are thousands of people in Ireland that have a grievance to settle, a public market grievance to settle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they need to know where these people live.
Yeah. I could probably add a few more onto it, like I can add probably maybe for Thursday or something like that.
Some politicians as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Judges, maybe judges.
Yeah, judges as well. Find out where they live.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the ability to be in secret, because they're public officials. Yeah. And this is a public-private partnership.
Yes. And possibly registrars of the High Court and that type of thing, if they're anything.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. We're
go through the whole hog.
We're going to help you out, you registrars and you so-called fiction judges, by servicing in your home, because we don't want those letters go missing.
Yeah.
So we're going to help you out. We're going to help you out by making sure that you are honor bound, duty bound. And I don't care what words you think that means. I'll define it.
Yep.
You're going to face a global public-private partnership. You're going to be put under the penalty of perjury on a geometric level playing field in your private-public capacity. In your public-private capacity. And then you're going to be fined. And then we're coming after your bond. Okay? And I'll be teaching all those things on Thursday for the Canadian people. All right? Can we do the one in Chicago, please? Could you
Yeah,
read it out?
yeah, just have it here. 1, 2 seconds. Okay. Now, I'm not sure. These are all Illinois. I think they're all Illinois. In
Yeah,
Chicago.
this is all in Illinois.
Illinois. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So just read out the names, will I? And where they're
Read everything out, please.
Yeah. Okay. Donna Joe Vorsterstrasse. She's a judge in Lake County Courthouse.
A fiction judge.
Fiction judge, a puny judge.
That's it, a puny judge. Yeah.
Yeah. 18 North County Street, Waukegan. I don't know how you pronounce that. Illinois, 60058. Yeah.
So we're looking for their home address so we can have a public-private partnership.
Yes.
So we can have a public-private partnership. We're going to help these people out, aren't we, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes.
Thank you. Next one, please.
Okay. Aaron Cartwright Weinstein, Lake County Courthouse, 18 North County Street. That name again, Waukegan, Illinois, 60058. I don't know how you pronounce that name.
Thank you very much. And then we have John D. something. So give me
Heidelberg,
that.
yeah, a sheriff, Lake County Sheriff's Office, 25 South Martin Luther Jr. King Avenue. That Waukegan, Illinois, 60058. Then we have Jennifer Bannock, who's a coroner, Lake County Coroner, 26 North Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue, Waukegan, Illinois, 60085. Then we have David Weiss Lipschutz, lawyer.
Lips shit. Lips shit.
Lipschutz.
Yeah, but let me spell lips shit for you.
Yeah.
Lipshutz.
Yeah. Lawyer. Business address 20N Wacker Drive Street, is it? DRSTE. 1434 Chicago, Illinois, 60606. Great name. Then
So we are looking for their home addresses. So
home address.
If people can help us out with this public-private partnership so we can service them, that would be really helpful.
Yeah, in their private capacity.
Yeah, because we need to help them out, don't we?
Yes.
Well, because we're peaceful men and women that want a private-public partnership, a private-public partnership, a public-private partnership.
Yeah. Okay, the next one is Kerry Trunkett. She's another lawyer, the president of Trunkett and Trunkett PC. And her business address is 20N Waker Drive Street, I don't know, or DRSTE, I don't know if that means drive and street, 1434, Chicago, Illinois, 60606. And then we have Salvador Fregale, I don't know, the bank president, 2440 E Rand Road, Arlington Heights, Illinois, 60004. So that's all them there now.
Okay, so I want to make it very clear to the public. Okay, let me come back to us. We are looking for peaceful men and women that know the whereabouts of these people in their private capacity, in their homes, so we can service them. And we're asking the people in Chicago to help us out and provide that information for us. And also for the people in Ireland, because it's a small community, a small country, to do that for us as well, so we can service them. Okay? And this is called a public-private partnership. Public-private partnership. If you folks can provide us also with the home addresses for that public-private partnership of the police station chiefs, as it were, there's normally 3 of them, because we need to have a public-private partnership with them as well. Yeah, that's what this is about. We know that their time has run out. Okay, and when you put them under the penalty of perjury, it has a lot of power in it. That is why they hide and hide. The reason why the terrorism legislation was brought in, terrorism quite literally means the earth or the government attacking you. That's what terrorism means. Terror means T-E-R, means earth attacking you. It means terror of the earth. It means your own government is going to attack you. You see, ladies and gentlemen, under zero tolerance and under public-private partnership, you have to know where these people live so we can safeguard them from bad people. We need to safeguard them, and we need to have a public-private partnership with these people, because it's our duty to safeguard police officers, constables, sheriffs, and all of these public officials. And of course, we have to make sure that they do their job well as well. And only men and women can do that. Only men and women can script their public actors, their public officials. Full stop. I would like to, perhaps I would leave the rest of it. I don't think I should go through anything else. Oh, I got to credit these ladies here. A student of mine sent me this, and it's mums. One mum saved her entire school district bond for the win. Okay. Basically, what they did is that they realized, of course, there is a bond in place. All public officials have to have a bond in place. Every theatre, every government building has a bond in place. The fiction version of that is called an insurance policy. Okay, and I won't go into the finance of that, but essentially, these bonds always have to be in the public domain because they're doing things publicly. If they don't make that available, you have to service them to say, we need it. And the reason they don't give it to you is what these ladies have discovered, is because you can initiate a court case with the bond company to go and collect monies from the bond company, which they, in their private capacity, are 100% liable. So the bond company will cover them if something genuinely went wrong. But when they're in criminality and when they're being serviced, they have forfeited the bond company from paying off the damages. That's why the judges, the receivers, the politicians hide that information from you. Okay? And we're going to break all that. So, all credits to this ladies who did it. So I always credit people that, that genuinely do things, but I am not forwarding them as good people or bad people. From what I have seen, I love it. And I'm the Chief Federal Postal Court Judge. So if these ladies watching, if they want place in my training program on Thursday, just email me and I'll guarantee you a place. Needless to say, there'll be like 2,000 people wanting to come on. I can only entertain, for the Canadians, just under 1,000. 500 would be better. And for Europe and Ireland, I can entertain 500 to just under 1,000. I can train them. Okay. So if these ladies want that from me, I can further increase their ability to do what they're wanting to do. Yeah. So, that's what I'll do. But make it clear in the email who you are, provide us with some rudimentary proofs so we know who you are. And then I'll guarantee you a place to be on Thursday. Also, we are about 5 days behind with the emails because I've got thousands of emails. So, give us time, as it were. Our staff is working full time trying to fix the amount of emails that is coming through. Okay. So all credits to these people. What else can I possibly say? At the bottom, you will see here, this is why they take ads out in the newspapers accusing you of things. When the Irish newspaper did that to me, I rebutted it. Yeah, when the television station did it, when the newspaper stations did it, I rebutted it as nothing more than fiction. And you know what they came back with on telly and said? This man just speaks nothing more than legalese. I kid you not. It's comical. You know, I'm sorry, let me just I'm sorry about the comedy. It's like, they accuse me of speaking legalese. Now that is a true statement, as it were, because they're playing games with you. You see, because they know that I have legislative powers. I'm able to legislate things as a chief federal postal court judge. So what they're doing is they're telling you the truth at the same time and thwarting the common law societies, about legality, because the common law societies don't fully understand what legality means, or legalese. They don't understand it. So because of that, when they said, this Mark only he speaks legalese, everybody think, oh, the man is, into legalese. But in reality, what they're saying is that this man has legislative powers. That's it, really. Yeah. And look, it's a comedy of errors. And your ability to use the pen successfully is yours. This is your God-given seal. Sorry, your creator's seal. God is a legal fiction, by the way. When you know how to use this, and when you know how to use this, and then put your claims on paper, without exaggerating and babbling your way through, and being as congruent as possible, you will win the day. Full stop. Do you have anything else to add, Irene?
No. The only thing I was thinking of when you were talking about the prayer and the church and everything, about the Lord's Prayer, where they changed the words in it. Forgive us our trespasses.
Oh, you want to go into that? Okay, I'll explain it to you, but then people are not going to like
just
it.
One word, just one little word that they changed in it.
The tragedy of it, it's not one little word. The tragedy of that Lord's Prayer means, the Lord that owns you. That means, if you look up in their dictionary, it means owner of chattel and cattle, yeah, and owner of land. That's what it means. And you are chattel, as you know.
Yeah.
Okay. And, it's like, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Kingdom means the dominion of a king. You are not under a king. You live on a geometric level playing field with the Creator also talking to you on a level playing field. That's why in the so-called Garden of Eden, he walks hand in hand with you. There is no higher or lower. There is no hand touching you from lower and higher. That's all part of fiction. Leonardo, anyway, that artist, I've forgotten. But what I'm saying to you is that where it's got, forgive those who trespass against us as we forgive those who trespass against us. Okay? And then they reverse it by saying, just as I will forgive those people who trespass against us. What they're basically doing, when they intend to trespass into your homes and houses and into your bank accounts, they'll change the Lord's prayers to trespass. Yeah. And when they want you when they do sin upon you, when the Lords do sin upon you, sin means to miss the mark, they will say, forgive those who sin against you, as you forgive those who sin against those you sin against. But you have sinned against nobody, and you have trespassed against nobody. They're programming you under hypnosis for you to forgive them when they break into your houses, your bank accounts, rape your children, rape you through the courts. But you never raped anybody. Yeah. And they will also say, when they want it in more of a common language, they'll change that. Forgive those who, uh, what's the word? I think they even use the word harm. Forgive those who harm you, and just as they will forgive you for harming them. So essentially, what they're saying, the Lord, which are the lords that I showed you, as in the lords of the common, beg your pardon, the lords, the House of the Lords in in Westminster, they're basically programming you to forgive them when they trespass against you, when they damage you, when they harm you, and when they sin against you. And they'll give you the noble idea that you are also sinning against them, and therefore you are forgiving yourself of the sins. It's a trickery so hideous in its nature once you analyze it. And if somebody wants me to do this and somebody wants to interview me on how that works, just on the Lord's Prayer, I would do that. I would do that. Okay?
Yeah. But they changed the word from trespass to debt. Debt, as in
Yeah, that's it. That's the word. Yeah. So
yeah,
for those, forgive those who are in
debt
debt to
against
you,
us.
and those, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Okay? But you are not in debt to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. Now here comes the biggest and largest crunch that I want to share with you folks. All right? And I wrote it down. And I need everybody to recite this with me 7 times, gently and slowly. Okay? But before I do that, I'm going to explain to you the mechanism of financial fraud in the most simplest fashion. You see, you have in the origins of it what is known as a creditor. That's the creditor with a pen. When you signed anything, you created the credits for it to be transferred into your bank account. You are the creditor of that.
Yeah.
What the bank did in the private ledger, they turned you, in the public ledger, they turned you into the debtor. But the bank, the government, Prince Charles, the principalities, the lords, they're actually the debtors because they are living on your credit.
Mm-hmm.
The principalities, the governments, and the corporations, just by its legal notation, tells you a corporation has no energy. A man or a woman needs to put the energy in, and that's called a creditor. That's called a creditor, and the company becomes the debtor until they're paid off the debt, as it were. That's why they're trying to walk away, but not paying their debt before you find out. Because it's the lords, it's the governments and the corporations that are the debtors. You are actually the original creditors. That's why it's so important for them, for you to sign away your all powers of attorney so they can swap themselves as being debtors into creditors and putting you in as the debtor. Full stop. Do you think I've explained that, Irene, to people very well?
Yes. We've made you the debtor, as in the debt pledge.
Yeah,
debt.
that's it. Okay, but in fact, they're the ones that hold the debt pledge because you're the creditor.
You become the creditor. You're meant to be the creditor, but they switch roles.
That's right. Yeah. And they call that the secured party creditor. All right.
Yeah.
Now, this is how in psychology it works. And you also have to appreciate, why is it that your academics and your theologians, your priests and preachers, and your professors don't ever teach you this? Why is that? That's something you've got to be aware of. So here it comes. The enemy of the debtor is the creditor. The enemy of the debtor is the creditor. Why is the enemy of the debtor the creditor? Because the debtor has to pay back the credit. They have to pay back the credit. Ireland Corporation, the banks, have to pay back all the credit, because that's the credit that they were living on, called the Crown Corporation. All that has to go back. And that's what I'll be teaching on Thursday. But as I said, if people cannot follow it through and they make dumb-witted statements, I'll just press that button and remove them from that training program. You've got to understand this. So say it with me. The enemy of the creditor, the enemy of the creditor is the debtor. The debtor's enemy is the creditor. The one that holds the debt have to pay back the credit. Yeah, so the debtor knows this, and that's why they're trying to kill off people all around the world and getting caught out on it, because they have to pay back the credit. So Irene, I'm going to ask you, for the purposes that I think I may have confused people, because I get so excited. Are you the debtor or the creditor?
I'm the creditor.
Okay.
Yes.
Can a corporation be a creditor? Can a corporation give you credit to a man or a woman?
They make you the debtor.
So what is it? What is the direct answer? If they constantly make you the debtor, what is it that they're hiding? That you are.
They're unable to process it properly.
Because of the wordplay and the mirroring.
Yeah.
Okay. So can we first of all agree, anybody that knows corporate law, that a corporation needs to be given energy from men and women for it to actually have anything?
Yes.
And that credit has to be paid back.
Yeah.
Okay. So the creditor has to be now aware. That's the people of the world have to understand that Mark, Kishon, Christopher, Irene, and so many of the people in the world have understood their position is that of a creditor. Because they are a creditor, they now have to realize the debtor doesn't want to pay it back. And as a result, the debtor is going to try to kill off the creditor. They will talk about Jazara and Nazarara. They'll talk about false vaccines. They'll talk about genocide programs. All of this is going to be exploding in their faces. And as a result, they're going to do their best to kill you with stress, kill you financially, to kill you by prisoning you, by robbing you, by vaccinating you, by toxifying the language, by toxifying your food supply, your water supply, fluoridating it. They're going to do so many different things that are so creative and have been doing from day one, when they took over, as it were, only 150 years ago, to kill off the creditor. Because the debtor owes the people. That's what the Canadians have figured out. That's what the Americans have figured out. That's what the Australians have figured out, and New Zealand people as well. Yeah, I don't think the Irish have quite figured it out, but they now have, because I've explained it to them. Other more subservient countries, they are also starting to figure it out. And if they haven't, they have heard us speaking. And this video, when we wake up, let's hope in faith, let's hope that this presentation in the next 2 days reaches 500,000-600,000 people or more. I would like it to go to millions. This is a free transmission. It's under Commons license, Creative Commons license, which means they can download this video and upload it directly to their own YouTube station. In doing so, you have just created a shockwave into the very foundation of the lie. Now comes another part. You see, a lie begets another lie. The parliaments around the world, the corporations, have built their structure on another lie, on top of another lie, and top of another lie, and top of another lie. And in psychology, we know this, as well as in economics. Lies and interest rates and fiat currency only has a lifespan, and that's if you're really good at it, 99 years. After that, the entire system comes crashing. You look up the Federal Reserve's own paperwork, and I've forgotten the name of that paper. I even spoke about it. Let me just see if I written it down. Even Zeitgeist, at that time, even did a documentary on it. I've forgotten. But anyway, on that document, it tells you that we will keep printing money until we have cannibalized on all the other money supplies in the world. In other words, every time they print off one note, they'll print off another note. They'll print off another note to devalue this one they printed off on the back of this one. And they'll keep doing it until the original note that they printed off in the 1920s will have no value, just as the dollar note will have no value. That's in their own charter. They openly have told you that we're going to print so much money that it's going to devalue everything in your savings, your homes, your dollars, your pounds. Luckily for us, because I know what the timelines are, because David Way Miller taught me these things, and I've been aware of these timelines, as it were, since I was a child, somebody came to our rescue. And that's called Bitcoin. So the men and women that was responsible for that, I thank you. Because every time you destroy something, a solution has to be created. He who creates a problem must provide a solution. Okay? Their time has run out. Their timelines have run out. If anybody wants that document, I'll make it available if you email me or on my website. I actually forgotten the name of the document. I can't, I can't, for the like of it, remember it. Me and Hugh in Australia was just speaking about it. Yeah, it actually tells you. And Zeitgeist even did a short video on it. 12 years ago, they told you, Zeitgeist, that the money supply would be reprinted off until all the value of the savings you have zeroes out. They have already told you that, and you're witnessing it, and you're witnessing it, and you're witnessing it. Okay? So, thank you very much. This is my little brother's watch, okay, which he liked. He passed away. This is him 3 years ago. So these things are very so-called personal to me. That's him. That's my little baby brother. Yeah, and he passed away because he got eaten away by these parasites, as well as a couple of other parasites. One he was married to, another one was a sister-in-law. A vile things. What these people don't understand is, the Crown prosecution will be soon prosecuting those people that made false claims. They're not aware of it. But the Crown prosecution, which is a for-profit organization, is going after these people. Yeah. So this is David Way Miller, my teacher, my mentor, and he also passed away in the hands of these psychopaths and narcissists. Okay, so the point I'm making is that there are deadly effects. There are deadly effects and real consequences if you don't do anything. Inert people will always get themselves hurt. So for people that want the training, this is for people that are going to do anything. If you don't do anything with it, and you're just there because you're going to pick up something for free, I want to say this: F off. F off. I'm not going to entertain you. This is for the truckers that have put their life online, because each one of them knows that they themselves are responsible. They are a leaderless organization, and that's the best way to go. And you have a scholastic masturbator in Canada that's trying to get them to organize into centralization. When you go central, you'll be dethroned, you'll be decloaked, you'll be demoralized, you'll be disillusioned, and the rest of it. And you'll just simply break up. The reason why each one of you is out there is because each one of you know that's the correct thing to do. Because each one of you is a walking, talking unit of power. And you've all come together like a starfish to work in unison. That's called a leaderless organization. Leaderless organizations cannot be stopped by any centralized organization. That was the tactics of the Apache Indians when they held back for 200 years the Spanish. And the Spanish used to do everything that they can to destroy them. For 200 years, they held them back. And then they spent another 200 years holding back the so-called Europeans, called Americans. They fought for 400 years and kept them at bay by being starfish organizations, by being leaderless organization. What's a leaderless organization? I'm going to go to Times Square and bring this to a stop. And if other people want to come, let them come. But I am not reliant upon them. When me and Alex went to central London, the city of London, and shut down Lloyd's of London because 2 men turned up, federal judges, they were defecating in their pants. Why would they be defecating in their pants with men with machine guns over 2 men with got pens in their hands? That's the power of it. We've done this for ourselves. It's for the world now to do it. Don't rely on the Canadians to start this for you. They're not going to come to Australia. They're not going to come to Africa. Canadians are going to do what Canadians do. They are leaderless. And that is how you must stay. You must stay leaderless. You have no leader, so nobody can speak for you. You cannot ask the Prime Minister or President in your country to come and see you, because he cannot see you, because he's beneath you. Yeah, but I will teach you folks how to speak to your Prime Minister and give him instructions to do whatever you want him to do. And it will happen, because I have done it. Full stop. Full stop. Irene, do you think I have successfully communicated to people I have zero tolerance, that only men and women that are going to do something about it can come to us? and that we need the help of the people to find the names and the people that we mentioned as part of a public-private partnership? Have I successfully communicated to them that I speak from first-hand knowledge?
Yes.
Have I,
Definitely. Yes. Yeah.
have I successfully communicated to them how the money system and the all powers of attorney works?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, in that case, have I successfully communicated to them the enemy of the debtor is the creditor?
He's the creditor. Yes.
Okay.
But they don't
And the
want you to know that.
creditor, which is the people, need to be very aware that the debtor looks upon you as the enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, this is more in psychology than you can imagine. I've helped many people, and guess what has happened? Guess what has happened? Just think about it. I have helped many people, spent thousands of pounds of my money, yeah, helping these bums. In other words, I was the creditor, and I never asked them to become debtors. But do you know what they did? They looked upon me once they had received it as I'm the enemy. You understand? The psychology of these people is identical to your governments and corporations and the courts and the land registries and the so-called prime ministers, the principalities. Their psychology is identical. Look on my website, how many people I've helped. These are also the same people that now attack me. What's that about? Because the enemy, the creditor, must now be aware, the creditor, which is the people, must be fully aware that the debtor knows that they know, you know, they owe you. Prince Charles knows that he owes the English, the Irish, the Great British, the Americans a lot of money. Every government, every corporation, every principality, every reverend, which is also a legal fiction, knows that the credit that they stole has to be returned. And as a result, they're going to become very creative to talk you out of it. Luckily, we have been coming out, we are out of the Corona period. We have been fully birthed into the Corona period. The power goes back to you. It's my job on a planetary scale to bring this to the world. Because as a planetary judge, that's one of my jobs, is to educate you enough to survive healthily on this planet. Okay? That is that. I don't have anything else. I was going to ask people to help me out, find a few other people. Like, for example, I need to know where Russell J. Gould lives because of the damage he done to David Wayne Miller. You know, his home address, I want it. If somebody knows where he lives, because he hides all that information, send it to me, please. Russell J. Gould. Another character that David Wayne Miller actually was paying to help him, one of his clerks, as it were, that was working for the fiction courts, name is Leighton Ward. Leighton Ward. So if anybody knows where Leighton Ward lives, let me know. They pretend to put him in prison, so I can't find him, as it were. But he's not in prison. That was just an act. That's what they do. These actors act. So Leighton Ward, okay, and Monty Muller. Monty Muller. He was on David Wayne Miller's website. But David Wayne Miller's website is going down, so I put another one up so the world doesn't forget who David Wayne Miller is. If people can set David Wayne Miller's website as how it was like 3-4 years ago, they can do that automatically. Any IT person can do that. You know, recreate that website and put it out for public, please. You know, so the world will know David Wayne Miller's technology is never going to pass away. It's never going to pass away, no matter what the efforts are of these fictional people, you know? So, just to let you know, please surf through my website. I can provide you information there that will boggle your mind, And I don't have anything else to say, but I've totally enjoyed myself talking here, because for the first time in like 2-3 months, I've been calm, I've been quiet, and not getting angry because I get so passionate and angry. So I feel much good. The adrenaline is a lot less in my body today. So certainly I'll sleep better. Is there anything else that we need to say, Irene, before I bring this to an end?
Just a little thought, when you were talking about Queen Elizabeth coming to Ireland and everything, we should be going around the other Commonwealth countries, or states around like Canada and Australia. And that
I
type of
forgot to
thing.
mention that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Look, June, Elizabeth II, which is a fiction name, is going to be having its Platinum Jubilee. The Platinum Jubilee is Jubilee is a Jewish word, and that exists in banking. So what the Jews do, every 7 years, they always wipe off anything that's of debt, because debt is toxic, and they know that. So they just wipe it off. And that's called, Jubilee, forgiveness of debt. That's fine. Okay, so I'm asking every Jewish banker, please, the people are the creditors, these principalities are the debtors, and the people have not forgiven their debts. They need to be fully congruent of the relationship between a debtor and a creditor for the people to forgive anything. And it's the people's choice, and it cannot be done through hypnosis or any other means, or using mirrors. So I'm talking to all the Jewish bankers as a plenipotentiary judge and a chief federal postal court judge. You are not to wipe off their their debts, as it were, because they have got the general public through hypnosis and suggestion to forgive their sins, as it were. Just as Richard Branson, through the Sex Pistols, come up with these creative words, God Save the Queen and the fascist regime. When the nation sang that, and Europe and all of that sort of stuff, that's what they did. That's what you did verbally, is to forgive those debts that she owed you. That's why they got you singing, God Save the Queen. God Save the Queen and the fascist regime. But you thought it was a protest song. It's not. It's a verbal contract to preserve the life of a fiction and to forgive the sins that they have committed against you. And for the Christian bankers, that word is quite important. They forgive other people's sins, and Christians forgive other people's sins, and vice versa, once a year under the Gregorian calendar. Okay, they're wiped off clean. So I'm telling all the Christian bankers that they have not told the general public, whether it's on a subconscious, unconscious, or a conscious level, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in conventional language. So because they have not done it, the debts of these people, the Church of England, is not forgiven, because the people do not know that they are the creditors and it's the Church of England that is the debtor. They haven't understood that. Until that is clearly communicated to the entire world, the debts and the credits will not be negotiable. Okay, so I want to make that very clear. Unless the Church of England or any one of these things effectively communicates to the conscious mind of the men and women all around the world what the relationship is and who the debtor and the creditor is, There cannot be any transaction. I have to come to you with open hands when I'm making contract. See no evil, think no evil, speak no evil. You understand that? Look, what I've just said to you will set the course of your planet on a direction that you fully may not understand. But that is the power man has when he speaks. Thank you. Thank you very much, Irene. I will end it here, and we'll speak in about 20 minutes, if that's okay, Irene. We'll
Yeah,
speak
sure.
in
Okay,
about
no
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Look after yourselves, and I will see you folks on Thursday.
Thank you.